Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the class. We studied about finite and non-finite verbs. Then in non-finite verbs, we studied that there are three types of non-finite verbs. Number one, that was gerund. Number two, infinitives. And the third one today we will talk about that is called an participles. Clear? What do we call them? Participles. The third type, the last type of non-finite verbs, we call them participles. Now, as we are studying verbs here, so first of all, you need to keep in your mind that when we want to study about verb, you should know about that verb does not only function as a verb, clear? It has got different functions. Verb can function is number one is a verb itself, clear? And that is finite verb. And a non-finite verb, it can function, number two, verb can function as a noun. And we had studied about gerund. And the third one, verb can also function as an adjective. Clear? It can function as an adjective, is a participle. Clear? Participle that we are going to study today. And the third one, the fourth one, it can also function as an adverb. Clear? Again, we will study as a participle. And as a noun, we have studied two things. Clear? There was what? Infinitive. Clear? And gerund. Gerund and infinitive can function as a noun, is in a verb form. And infinitive can also function as a, it can also function as an adjective. And again, we had studied infinitive can also function as an adverb. So verb has got how many functions? 4. Like the first one, if it functions as a verb, so that would be what? That would be finite verb. What type of verb? Finite verb. We have already studied the definition of finite verbs. What are finite verbs? If you didn't watch that lecture, you can go to YouTube channel and you can watch over there what are finite verbs. And the last three, Claire, the last three, we call them what? They are non-finite. When a verb, it function itself is a verb, clear? When it function is a verb, that will be finite verb. But when it function as a noun, as an adjective or an adverb, they are the types of what? Non-finite verbs, clear? So we have already studied gerund and infinitive. Today we will move to talk about what type of verbs? Participles, clear? We are going to talk about participles. So let's come towards that of participles. That what are participles? We want to study about participles now. Now, let's study about participles. Participle is what here? Participle is a verb form. What is participle? It's number one, it's a verb form. Participle itself is a verb, clear? It's because non-finite is a verb and participles are the type of non-finite verbs. So it's a verb, clear, that can be used, number one. I have written here that can be used, number one is what? As an adjective. That can be used, number two, is an adverb, clear? Number two, participles can be used as an adverb. Participles, clear, can be used as nouns, clear? Noun cannot be because it is in gerund and infinitive, clear? Is an adjective, adverb, and the third one, it can be used at what? It can be used at verb tense. And it can be used, and participles can be used in what? And passive voice. It can be used in active and passive. Participles are used in active, passive wise, clear, not in active. So participles can be used, like it can function as an adverb, it can function as an adjective, and it can be used where? It can be used in passive voice, and it can be used in tenses. Clear? Verb tenses. So these are the 4 different areas that it can be used. Now let's talk about participles, types of participles. Clear? We have got how many types of participles? There are 2 types of participles. Number 1 we call present participle, and the second one we call a past participle. We can say that the ing form of verb is called present participle. Ing form of verb is called what? Present participle form of the verb. And third form of the verb, that is called what? Past participle form of the verb. Present participle is verb ing, and past participle is what? That is third form of the verb. Like third form of the verb can be, it can end with ed, clear? It can be end with d, it can be end with t, it can be clear, ended with en, or it can be ended in n. So we will study here one by one present participles and past participles. Clear? So let's come towards the first one, that is called what? We call it present participle. Present participle we call to which form of verb? Verb ing. Clear? Verb ing is called what? We call it present participle. Like we will not call it anymore like that of verb ing. We will call it present participle. And present participle form of the verb, it has got how many functions? It has got 4 functions. It can function as a noun, it can function as an adjective, it can function as an adverb, it can function as an verb itself. Present participle can be used as a verb, it can be used as an adjective, it can be used as an adverb, it can be used, the third one is a noun. Clear? So let's talk one by one. I have written here even like for you that a present participle is a word that ends with what? With ing. Present participle ends with what? Ing. Clear? Number 2 is formed from a verb. It is formed from what? From a verb, and is used as an adjective, adverb, clear? Verb tense, and it can also be used as a noun. And if it is used as a noun, that is gerund. Clear? Because gerund is also present participle form of the verb. So let's talk about the functions of all of them. Clear? We will study about how it functions as an adjective, how it functions as an adverb, how it functions as an noun, and how it functions as tenses, different tenses. So let's talk about the first one. Clear? Number 1 function is what? There's the first one. First function is about as an adjective. Clear? Present participles is an adjective. Present participle as an adjective is very common. Clear? It's very common, and you have already studied about adjectives. That what are adjectives? Adjectives are words that modify noun and pronoun. Very easy definition that you have learned it. Clear? So let's study about it. There are many adjectives that we have in English that end in what? An ing. Clear? An adjective that ends in ing, is used to describe the characteristic, clear? Characteristic of what? Of a person. Clear? It is used to describe the characteristic of a person, thing, or the third one, situation. So these are the thing. When you want to describe the characteristic of a person, thing, or situation, we use that of present participle of form of an adjective. Let's take some of the examples, then you will be quite clear about it. Now, let's talk here an example. Let's take here the first example. Can you see? The movie is disappointing. The movie is disappointing, or the movie was disappointing. Now, can you people see here which one is verb in this case? Like the first form of disappointing is what? Disappoint. Disappoint is the first form. Disappointing becomes the ing form. Now, can you see here in this case, verb we have that is. The only verb we have, which one is verb? Is. The movie is. Look, this is like which case of an adjective it becomes here? Yeah, predicative case of an adjective. Clear? We can say this is called predicative because it links subject, because we have got the movie. It's subject with an adjective here. Now this case, this disappointing is what? It's an adjective. Because if I remove this disappointing, the movie is what? Like it does not complete the meaning of subject. So subject, predicate here. So we can say that disappointing is called what? We call it an adjective here. Clear? This is not verb. It's not present continuous tense. Remember, this is not present continuous tense that you see ing and you will say this continuous verb. Clear? Like, look here. Look, suppose that let me take an example here for present continuous tense. He is playing. Now, can you see here? He is subject. He is playing. Now, playing is, in this case, is what? It's a verb. It's present continuous tense because it shows action. It's a verb. But in this case, the movie is. Like it talks about what? It talks about the movie. It talks about the noun. But in this case, he is playing. Playing talks about an action. It doesn't talk about that. But if I, like the same way, if I say, he is happy, He is happy. Now, what is happy here? Happy is an adjective. Descriptive adjective it is. Because it modifies what? It modifies that of he. It gives more information about he. So that's why we can say that he is pronoun and it gives more information about that. Clear? Now let's take another example. The class is boring. The class is boring. What is boring? The class is boring. So boring gives more information about what? The class. Clear? So we can say this is called an adjective. It's not ing form of verb. Clear? It is ing form of verb, but it functions as an adjective. For example, if I say the problem is confusing. The problem is what? The problem is confusing. Clear? So we have got confusing as an adjective. Now in this case, if you look here, don't try to catch a running bus. What is bus here? Bus is noun. Clear? Bus is noun. Which bus? Running bus. Running gives more information about what? About bus. Like we have already studied in compound nouns, if you remember. Clear? Gerund plus. And over here, this, we can say this is not gerund, this is participle. Now we can say here, because you people are what? You are, now you people are what? You are, mashallah, you can see right now that you are advanced students of it. Clear? So we can say that, we can say this participle. And participle, a function is what? An ing. It describes noun. Clear? Now we can say the next one, a flying bird. Which bird? Flying bird. Clear? So we have got what here in this case? That is flying. Flying is the adjective. Bird is called what? We call bird noun. Very good. Burning house. Please save the burning house. Which house? Burning house. Burning is an adjective. Clear? Now, can you people see here the next one? If you look here, the last one, confusing situation. What is situation here? Situation is noun. Clear? And which type of situation? Confusing situation. Now, can you see here speech? What is speech here? It's a noun. Inspiring speech. Ali gave an inspiring speech. Clear? So we call it what? An adjective. Is this clear to all of you? Any questions so far? The first function is clear to all of you. Now let's move towards the second function. Clear? Adjective, present participle, the second function of it is what? That is, it functions as an adverb. It functions as what? It functions as an adverb. Clear? This is the second function. Clear? So we can say it also functions as an adverb. Now, when ing form of verb is used to modify a verb, it functions as in what? It functions as an adverb. Now look at here. Adverb, inshallah, afterwards we will study about adverb. Clear? Anything that gives you answer for how, when, and where. Three things. Clear? How many things? Adverb is what? Adverb is, keep in your mind, how, manner. Number two, where, place, and when. Clear? Time. So a word, clear, that gives you answer for what? For how, where, and when. We call them what? We call them adverbs. So if present participle form of verb, it gives you answer for how, when, and where. We call it what? We call them adverbs. So it will function as an adverb. Let's take an example for this one. She ran. Clear? Which one is verb? Ran. How? She runs. Clear? She runs how? Screaming, for example. She runs shouting. Now look here. She runs how? How? It gives answer for what? For how. It talks about the manner. How an action happens. Like for example, he walks. How? He walks. Clear? He walks screaming. Are you getting it? So now in this case, scream, screaming. ing form, present participle form of the verb. So it functions as what? It function is an adverb, not because it modifies what? It gives more information about verb. Clear? Like take a next example. He entered. He entered. Entering is what? It's verb, an action. He entered. How he entered? He entered smoking. Now smoking modifies what? Smoking modifies entered. Verb. Clear? We have entered. Enter is verb. So it modifies entered. He entered the room. How he entered the room? It gives answer for how. Smoking. For example, he left. Left is verb. So how he left? He left crying. He left how? He left crying. So crying is what? It's an adverb in this case. If I say she walked back home. Clear? She went back. Yes, she walked. Walked is what? It's a verb. Clear? How she walked? She walked singing. She walked singing. So it gives more information on how an action happened. Clear? For example, he drinks his juice. He drinks. Drinks is what in this case? It's a verb. How he drinks his juice? He drinks his juice standing. He drinks his juice standing. So standing in this case is called an adverb. Like take an example. Ayan went. How he went? He went swimming. Where he went? He went swimming. Ayan went swimming. So now swimming is an adverb. So keep it in mind that ing form of verb, it present participle, it can function as an adjective. We have studied. It can function number 2 as an adverb. Now let's study about the third function. Third function that ing form of verb, Claire, it can function as a noun. It can function as what? As a noun. And you have already studied. If you haven't studied, so go and study gerund because we have explained it in more detail. Clear? It can function as a gerund. It can also function as a noun. Like, can we take an example? I like. I like what? Cooking. I like what? It doesn't give meaning for how. I like. It's an object here. I like cooking. So cooking in this case is what? It's a noun. Like I like, Claire, I play. What I play? I play cricket. Cricket is a noun. So I like cooking here. I like teaching. Claire, can you see? Teaching is a noble profession. What is noble profession? Teaching. Now we talk about teaching. It's a subject. So it functions as a noun. Clear? It's not an adjective because it doesn't modify a noun. But itself, it's a noun. Clear? It function is what? It function as a gerund. Studying grammar. Studying what? Studying grammar. Clear? So studying can help you improve your English. Clear? So you can use studying because we can say this is what? Studying grammar. It's noun phrase. It's a noun phrase. Studying grammar. It's a noun phrase. I told you that anything that comes before or after gerund, that is called noun phrase. We have already studied. Clear? Fourth function we have here, there is present participle can function as what? It can function as a verb tense. Like an ing form of verb, it can function as a, it means that in all continuous tenses, we can use ing form in all continuous tenses. Later on, inshallah, we will study in tenses as well. Either there is simple present continuous, past continuous, present perfect continuous, future continuous, future perfect continuous, past perfect continuous. So in all continuous tenses, we use ing form of verb, and it will function as a verb, not noun, not adjective, or not an adverb. Like here we have, he is playing. He is playing what? He is playing cricket. Continuous tense. It's a verb. Clear? It function is a verb tense. He was playing. Past continuous tense. He has been studying. Present perfect continuous. He had been studying. Past perfect continuous tense. He will be studying. Future continuous tense. He will have been studying. Future perfect continuous. So all in these tenses, the ing form of verb is called what? It function is a verb tense. Clear? Later on, inshallah, in tenses, we will study all these things in more detail as well. So in continuous tenses, we also use present participle form of the verb. Clear? So we have studied 4 functions of a verb. It can function as a verb, it can function as an adjective, it can function as an adverb, it can function as a noun, and it can function. So all the 4 functions we have already studied. Clear? Is this clear to all of you? Now, let's come here. The second one, past participle. Clear? We have studied present participle. Now we want to study about past participle. Clear? What are past participle? As I said, past participle is the 3rd form of verb. Like it ends with D, T, clear, N, EN, etc. So we call them what? We call them past participle form of the verb. And the same way, past participle form of the verb, it has got function number 1. It can function as an adjective. Clear? It can function as an adjective. Now look here. I'm what? I'm confused. I'm confused. Can you people see here? I'm confused. Who is confused? I'm confused. It gives more information about what? About I, subject. I'm confused. Now can you see? I'm bored in the class today. I'm what? I'm bored. So it gives more information about I, subject. Clear? So bored, past participle, and function is an adjective. Like I'm disappointed with his today's behavior. I'm what? I'm disappointed with his behavior. Can you see? Ali brought a ruined cake. Cake is what? It's a noun. He brought a cake. What type of cake? Ruined cake. Clear? So can you see? Ruined modifies what? It modifies cake. And cake is what? It's a noun. Cake is a noun. So we can say that it modifies ruined cake. For example, broken plate. Plate is noun. Plate is what? It's a noun. It's a noun. Broken what? We ate cake. We ate the cake in the broken plate. Broken is which form of verb? Participle. Past participle. 3rd form of the verb. Clear? We can say the boy taken to the hospital has recovered. The boy, which boy? Taken to the hospital. The boy, which boy? Taken to the hospital. So we can say boy taken. So taken is in past participle form of the verb. I have a hurt. Clear? Raked with sorrow. Raked with what? With sorrow. So we have here, these are called past participles and adjective. Now, if I say, for example, I'm confused, and if I say I am confusing, I'm confused and I'm confusing. Both of them are correct. Both of them are adjectives. But it has got different meaning. It has got what? Different meaning. Like if I say I'm confused, it means that I myself am confused. I'm confused. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. I'm confused. It's a confusing. But if I say I'm confusing, it means what? It means that I cause trouble. Like it's not easy to understand me. For you, it's not easy to understand me. Are you getting it? Like I'm quite confusing. I'm quite confusing. Like if I say in this way, clear? But if I say I'm confused, so I'm baffled. Like I'm confused in this question. But if I say I'm confusing, it means that clear? That I will cause trouble for you, or you cannot understand me because I'm confusing. I keep people confused. If I say I'm bored, I am boring. I'm bored and I'm boring. That we do not say I'm boring. We say I'm bored. We don't say like I'm boring. Past participle is used for human. Like if they are human being, like I myself, I'm talking, I'm human person. Jab say I'm bored. Particular things we personal the para ed or impersonal chikala we like a shayni we. Again the para ing the go manga. Like gora insani mazaba say I'm bored. You will not say I'm boring, but you can say the class is boring. Class ko insan nahi dekha na, it's impersonal, it's not human. So how would I say the class is boring, but I am what? I am bored. You will not say I am boring and the class is bored. That is wrong. Like you cannot say that the class is bored. That is incorrect. How would you say the class is boring, clear, and I am bored? Like for example, you can say I'm interested. I'm interested in the class. But the movie is interesting. The movie is interesting. You will not say the movie is interested. How would you say the movie? Because movie is not human. The movie is interesting, but I am interested. I'm interested in watching interesting movie. Can you see? I'm interested in watching an interesting movie. You will not say that I'm interested in watching interested movie. That is kufr. Like you are making what mistakes in that case. Clear? Is clear to all of you? All right. Past participles and verb tenses. Second function of it is what? Past participles and verb tenses. Like in tenses, we can use it. Clear? For example, he has broken his leg. Present perfect tense. Broken. Tense ke monga verb tar kai del take. He had past perfect tense. He will have broken his leg. Future perfect tense. No da monga pasikele gawle shu, but tenses ke it can also function as a verb. That take monga sara verb tar kai. Thik shu? Third function of it is that past participle are used in the third function of it. Clear? They can be used in passive. In all passives, we use past participle. Clear? And what? In passives. Past participles are used in passive. Like for example, the fence was painted. The piano was played. The fox was seen. Clear? The poem will be read. Will be read. Clear? So we have all these all of them are what? They function as a verb. We studied it can function as an adjective. It can function in tense. Clear? And it can function as what? In passive. Rarely it can also function as an adverb, but it's not very common. Rarely it can function as an adverb. Clear? Like let me give you an example. Clear? If I say he went, how? He went betrayed. He went betrayed. Belarisho. Now went is what? It's a word. Went is word. Betrayed, past participle. It's what? It's an adverb. So rarely it can also function as an adverb. The salur function में the past participle wala. Number 1, adjective. Number 2, tenses. Number 3, passive. And the fourth one, it can also function as an adverb. Is it clear to all of you? All right. Now look here. Can you compare these sentences? Clear? If I say my brother is bored, my brother is bored, and as I said, like he feels bored. But if I say my brother is boring, clear? My brother is a boring person. It explains the characteristic of a person in the beginning. I told you about it, and definition of present participles. It describes the characteristic of what? Characteristic of a person, thing, or situation. So now, what I can say, my brother is boring. It talks about the characteristic of that person, that he has got boring personality. You will not say, like if you say, he is bored, my brother is bored, it means he feels bored. Like he is not boring, but now he is feeling what? He feels bored. Look here, I'm confused. It means I don't understand something. But if you say I'm confusing, I will cause you to be confused. It means this one. Now, the same thing I told you, I'm bored, person, but for thing we use what? Boring. Clear? We use thing. For person, we use past participle, and for things we use, there are present participles. Like for example, can you see, read these examples? I was shocked. Person they can I was shocked by how shocking the accident. Accident is thing. I was shocked that by how shocking the accident was last night. Can you see? They were frightened by the frightening roller coaster ride. By the frightening, clear? So frightening, it is used for thing. And frightened for people there. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed, I. Annoying person. Person is a noun. Clear? Annoying person. Next. Alaya was confused by the confusing street. Street is place. By confusing. Clear? Now, example of sentences by ending ed and ing stem. The grammar lesson is boring. Clear? And I'm bored. I'm bored reading. It means I feel bored. The same thing, things del take bura. Dal take the grammar lesson. No grammar lesson means show. The grammar lesson is boring. But if I say I'm bored, like I feel bored reading this grammar lessons. I'm tired. I'm tired. You will not say I'm tiring. I'm tired. Clear? My flight was tiring. Flight was per Sunday can am per Sunday. So my flight was tiring, but I was tired. Public toilets are usually disgusting, clear, and I'm disgusted by the smell. I the para disgusted, and we have disgusting by, yeah. Your speech was very inspiring. Speech, thing, impersonal, inspiring. I am inspired. Take the gulano. Is this clear? Huh. So here are some of the ing. The common mungsara chikam, the adjectives declare you people can have a look at. You can then take notes from the video, like alarmed, alarming, clear the mungsara adjectives, the ed and ing wala. You can later on take notes of all of them. Bored, boring, clear. That is common adjectives chimunga istamalu. Ed wala and ing form wala. I'm pleased. Clear? The weather is pleasant. Adjective already stuck. Pleasant already stuck. The pleasant no be among pleasing value. Like ostas kana wooden. Wood door khona shivela kana. Wooden door bavel. Zakachi the wood adjective stuck. Wooden door we will stay. ये तो बख्याल साथ ही बचे. So we are done with your ordinary verbs, and inshallah tomorrow we will start with that of auxiliary verbs. Clear? Any questions?